I started the series 3 years ago when I went looking for the biological parents of my mother. She was adopted in 1964 in Spain, and I couldn't find any answers to who her parents were or if she had any other relatives. When I was 25, I went back to all the files and documents of that time, and I discovered that on her birth certificate was a used stamp of Franco, of the previous dictator of Spain, and the eagle was really prominent on the paper, and I was really intrigued by it. I just went to Spain and basically went looking for the last clues that were in her files to see what was her story, and I didn't find any, and that was the beginning of this project. So instead of focusing only on her stories, I started to really zoom out and see what was happening within Spain back then, around 1964, and what happened underneath the regime of Francisco Franco. When I came to Spain and couldn't find any other answers about what happened to my mom, I started to wonder why not. Start talking and doing research with people around me. And I actually realized that not only my mother's story was hidden or covered up, but many other side stories that happened during the regime, which led me to the pact that was created in 1977 by the government, the Spanish government, after Spain moved from dictatorship to democracy. They needed to kind of decide how we're gonna move on from this violent past that we have. And they decided to not let it exist. So they covered it up with the Pact of Forgetting. The pact became a very prominent part of the project, actually the core of the work, because I felt I needed to start there in order to explain all the side stories that were basically silenced because of the pact. It was not a law yet, this pact. It was more like an agreement that they made. And out of that came the amnesty law that actually decided or silenced people to not talk about any violent crimes that were happening, but also nobody was convicted because of the crimes they committed, and also the country didn't actively went looking for all the people that were still missing. All the people and objects you see in the project are hidden elements of this Spanish history and that are still alive now. I think history is always part of my work. What to me is so important about history is that it's not really visible. You cannot point out like, oh, this is happening now, we take a picture out of it and then we have it in front of you. But it's very, very important in how you shape yourself and also a country for a near future. If you look at how Spain is making its laws now, they're based always on something historical, something that went well or something that didn't went well. So if history is not included in policy making, it becomes a very strange country, because then you leave a whole part behind. And I think that's extremely dangerous. I want to show a certain space to people where they experience what I and many other people also experienced when they talk about the history or when looking for answers. Because of the silence that is happening everywhere, also memories changed. People started to doubt their memories, whether it was true or not. And the government also manipulated their memories because they silenced it. Over the years, memories alter Also because we experience different things. We think it was a super clear thought that we had, but also because we're aging and experiencing different things, this memory constantly changes. But it can also change because of alterations that were specifically made to change that memory. I wanted to challenge the viewer not to look at aesthetically pretty images, but to really critically look and hear, listen to what you see. And if you can decipher what you see is the actual story. If I show you a picture, do you immediately believe that this picture is true? Am I a good source, or am I trustworthy? These are very important questions for everybody that is looking at images in the newspaper or anywhere else, to constantly keep on asking themselves these questions. And that, I think, is the most important note of the exhibition. I ask the viewer, when they enter the exhibition space, to have a really active role. What do you see, feel, experience when you enter the space? What do you believe? What is questionable? And which of the 3 truths is really true, according to you? I leave that question open. At one point you will get the answer, but not now.